And we've got former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush. He's now a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. It's a conservative outfit, guys. Mark Tisson. Thanks for being with us, Mark. So I read through your notes and my gosh, scathing review of the performance last night. In fact, you say that the president didn't even have to hold a speech to say, I'm not going to do anything yet.
Yeah, this may be the first primetime address to the nation a president has ever given asking Congress to do nothing. I mean, I have no idea why he gave this speech. He spent 12 minutes talking about justifying and arguing for military action, and then announced that he was deploying not the U.S. military, but Secretary of State John Kerry to go talk to the Russians. I mean, I'm sorry, but Secretary Kerry going to Moscow is not something that merits a national live primetime address to the nation.
Right.
So, I mean, if that's all he had to say, I would have canceled the speech. But better yet, what he ought to have done is used it as an opportunity to lay out an ultimatum to the Assad regime. If he had gone out before the country and said, look, the Assad regime needs to do A, B, and C to get rid of its chemical weapons. These demands are not negotiable, and there is a deadline of this date by which they have to have shown that they are meeting those objectives. If not, then we're going to take military action. That would have projected strength. Instead, he projected weakness, and that's very dangerous in the world.
Yeah. Now, have you, in all of your experience, seen anything like this? This whole new plan to avoid attack by Syria surrendering the weapons, it came up purely on a one-liner, dismissive joke by Secretary of State Kerry. Someone said, what could they do to stop an attack? He said, well, they could give up control of all their chemical weapons, I guess, but they're not going to do that. And then the next thing you know, the Syrians are saying, well, sure, we'll do that. Is that embarrassing for the U.S., or can we claim to have been the ones to propose this fix?
It's unbelievable. We are conducting foreign policy by faux pas. I mean, first of all, the red line wasn't even planned. Obama's red line was a slip of the tongue. Kerry's plan for them to to get rid of their chemical stockpiles was just a slip of the tongue. None of this is planned. There's no strategy involved here. We have no idea what the Obama administration is trying to accomplish. I mean, whether you're for military action in Syria or against military action, I think all of us can look at this and say that this is an absolute embarrassment how they're carrying it out, whatever you think of what the ultimate outcome ought to be.
Yes, and Secretary of State Kerry arguing in favor of a big attack, even as he's telling Congress it would be incredibly small. I didn't understand that. Now, you say it's been a debacle, but tell me, you're in the White House, let's say. You get this incontrovertible proof, supposedly, although we, the American public, don't know it for sure that Assad personally ordered chemical weapons. But what's the first thing you would have done? What should they have done? Has it really been that bad?
Well, it has been that bad. I mean, first of all, I don't think he should have ever gone to Congress to request authority to do this. He's the commander-in-chief. He took us to war in Libya without going to Congress for authorization, as something that was much more substantive than this unbelievably small attack we're going to do. If it's so unbelievably small, then just do it. Now he's in a situation, quite frankly, where he's boxed himself into the point where Congress, he went out to first he walks away from his own red line. And then he says it's the world's red line. Then he goes to the world, and the world says, nah, we're not with you, except France, which is offering to hand over the surrender documents for us. Then he goes, the British Parliament votes no. Congress is about to vote no. And so he needs this way out more than Assad. Okay, it's the U.S. president that should be giving the dictator a way out.
One last thing, Mark. You didn't tell us. What would you have done? Would you have fired off Tomahawk missiles the morning after?
I think that he should have, if he decided, as he said last night, that military action is necessary and justified, then he ought to man up and be the commander-in-chief and have taken the military action he thought was necessary. It's that simple.
Man, you know what? If we can avoid firing missiles and they'll give up chemicals, and win-win, babe. All right, thanks for being with us today, Mark Tisson.
They're not going to give up the chemical weapons.
They're giving them up, babe. All right, thanks a lot.
Well, joining